Nigeria's government aims to spend around $21.8 billion next year in the hope of bootstrapping its economy out of its first recession in decades. This year, Nigeria's economy is forecast to shrink by anywhere between 1.3% and 1.7%. As Deji Badmus reports, the 2017 budget draft indicates that the government hopes to spend its way out of the recession.
Nigeria may be going through a tough economic time, but it is surely not allowing the situation slow it down. To avoid a repeat of the long delays that trailed the passage of its 2016 budget, the government has now sent its estimates for the next 3 years to Parliament. For 2017, it is planning to spend $21.8 billion. It fixed the budget oil benchmark at $42.50 a barrel, almost $5 higher than the benchmark for this year. The average exchange rate is 290 naira to the dollar, and the government is hoping it would be able to attain an oil production volume of 2.2 million barrels per day. The parameters seem rather ambitious.
Today we're doing about 1.5 million barrels per day, and the Niger Delta crisis continues to escalate. You know, a lot of operators, especially in the downstream sector, have relocated and about to relocate. Government must be prudent in budgeting and their budgetary benchmark, and the prudence here requires that we have to cut down or cut back on the benchmark price per barrel from 42 to something 30-35, and the crude oil benchmark in terms of output or production from the current 2.2 as presumed to something between 1.5, 1.2 million per day.
The government is targeting to raise 4.2 trillion naira in revenue to meet the budget expenditure. The rest it plans to raise through borrowing. But with the current budget already facing a huge revenue challenge, analysts say the situation may be no different for the 2017 budget.
It is going to be very, very challenging. Challenging to an extent that oil dollar is no longer flowing as it should flow. One, it is now very difficult to borrow, because in 2016 alone, Nigeria has spent from January to September, Nigeria has spent 56% of the total revenue on debt servicing. So we have borrowing. Of course, our debt to GDP is still very low, but our debt to revenue is becoming one of the highest in the world.
For me, if government continue to push through the economic diversification that we're seeing, and if all the reforms that is ongoing begins to yield results, I think there's going to be less concentration on oil revenue.
Generation will no doubt be a challenge for the government, but the good news is that the bulk of the projected revenue for the 2017 budget would not be coming from oil, but from other sources like non-oil and minerals and mining sectors. The government is also projecting a GDP growth rate of 3.02%. Now, on that, virtually everyone is saying it's over ambitious. Deji Badmus, CCTV, Lagos, Nigeria.